All right, so I know it's been a very long time since I've done a video. I've been very busy. I left my old job as a prosecutor after having been an attorney general for a long time, and then assistant attorney general, and finally decided to open my own law firm. And so it's been a huge transition. Um, anyway, so that's why I haven't posted videos. I do hope to have videos more regularly. Anyway, today I am going to be reviewing a fragrance that was just released recently. I wanted to give a review of it because I saw that there didn't seem to be many honest reviews out there, and so I wanted to give my own unbiased opinion. Fragrance is by Curly Fragrances. It is Attraction Fatale. I did just order a decan. I wasn't going to spend $250 on the bottle. For what it's worth, I think that is overpriced. Now, Jeremy Fragrances obviously charged quite a bit for his. People already kind of are complaining about the Attraction Fatales, the bottle looking cheap, coming in scuffed up. And I both of those are true. I will say, obviously, Jeremy Fragrances, stated his were clearly cheap bottles as well. However, he was very clear and transparent about them costing him a couple dollars to make, and that the fragrance itself only costs a couple dollars. The cosmetic industry as a whole has a huge markup, especially for these large houses that are having a ton, made at once in bulk. Indie houses obviously have more expenses because you're buying the ingredients on a smaller scale, and usually they're not mass produced in the same way. They're usually done in-house if they're indie, or they're done in a smaller facility. And so your profit margins aren't as high, and the kind of issue is you also have to try to make a presentation that is above a lot of the other things that are out there, because usually your price point does have to be higher due to the cost being higher. But anyway, with something like this, it was perfumed by a legitimate perfumer, master perfumer, who creates some of Shurjoff's fragrances as well as a few other well-known fragrances. So she did actually go with a professional perfumer. This isn't something she's doing in-house, trying to learn how to become a perfumer herself. Nothing wrong with that. I think that's the smart approach, especially because she's got other stuff going on, and she's continually obviously doing her YouTube, and that's what's bringing in a lot of money. So nothing wrong with that. To get that out the gate. Now, as far as the fragrance goes, I've heard, several people say it's, compared to a couple of things. I will say this. I've also seen pretty much all the reviews that are out there now on it. I have not seen a single negative review. They all seem to be, even the smaller channels, which you would think generally tend to be more honest and unbiased, because they don't really have that incentive to be misleading or you talk it up or praise a fragrance, because they're usually not gifted bottles. However, what Curly has been doing, and I'm not saying she's doing it for this reason, but she's doing it nonetheless, regardless of how big the channel is, if it's a positive review. I've only seen one that was not all the way positive, and that was Fatale Fragrances, and he praised the fragrance but said that for the price point, potentially it wasn't maybe not worth it, because there are other alternatives out there that are cheaper. So I respect that. From what I've seen, she hasn't commented on his and she hasn't shared his. Everybody else she has. And there's no way she's not aware of it, because there's much smaller channels than his that she has shared. Nonetheless, what she's doing, she's reposting those, saying, oh, check out this review, so appreciative, or whatever. Well, what that does is it shows these small channels that if they give a positive review, they're going to have Curly Fragrances channel, which is much larger, promote their channel and bring in a ton of views, as well as a ton of eyes on their lesser known channel. And so if they give a review that is less than stellar, that's not fully praising the fragrance, she's not going to promote it. Okay. If they give a positive review, well, there we go, and so I don't believe any of these people can be truly unbiased. I don't care one way or another. Obviously, this isn't my full-time job. I'm not expecting to blow up. I clearly, as you can tell by my background here, do not care about, making it big in the YouTube scene. And I can only even make videos consistently enough to even make that happen, much less you have the time to invest in doing so. Anyway, let's get to the fragrance. So, something I want to point out while we're on the topic. And I'm just going to show it on here. I'm not going to take the time to pull the website up and show it on the screen. But quite frankly, I'm too lazy here. But there's reviews on her website. Okay, there's 93 reviews already, which possible that's accurate. Look at the bottom, right? 4.94 out of 5 stars. Okay. 94 reviews. Now, this just came out. And so you think 94, of course, she might have sold 94 bottles. Yeah, of course. Well, most people who buy fragrances don't do reviews. With anything in the world, most people don't give reviews on something, generally. And when they do, it's usually because it's bad and they're upset. So for her to get 94 reviews, that means there's probably around 1,000 bottles, give or take. 940-ish, somewhere around there statistically, of people who have purchased this in order to give reviews and actually went on her website to do so. If she truly sold that much in this short period of time at $250 a bottle, she is loaded. If that's the case, congrats to her. Hats off. You made it, right? $250 plus 1,000. She is sitting nice. Now, I don't think that's the case. Full transparency, it seems suspect to me. What seems even more suspect to me is the fact that she has a 4.94 out of 5 stars, 93 reviews. And if you look, and I checked this yesterday, and this is the irony of the whole thing, 89 of those 93, it's hard to see, are positive 5-star reviews. 2 are 3-star or 4-star. 2 or 3-star, 0 are 2-star, and 0 are 1-star. Yesterday I was on here, and there was 1 4-star and 1 3-star, and 0 again, 2 and 0 1. What this tells me is either this fragrance is just completely amazing, and there's 0 trolls out there that would give it anything less than 5 stars, and everybody that smells this loves it and thinks it's worth the $250 they spent. Possible, highly unlikely. Nothing else, there's going to be trolls out there that are going to be trashing this thing. Even if it's the best fragrance in the world. I don't care if it's Roja Dove, Elysium, Creed Aventus, Baccarat Rouge 540, Acqua di Gio. Some of the best fragrances in the world, Dior Sauvage. There's a lot of haters just as much as there are that like it. Nowhere do you get this high of a rating. 0 1-star or 0 2-star reviews. Okay. This is just no. And then you have 2 4-stars. All of the rest are 5. Get out of here. She's clearly filtering the reviews, if the reviews are even real. And you talk about the integrity. You guys talk about, a lot of our viewers, not you, but her viewers I've seen in these videos. Curly always keeps it straight with us, so I'm going to keep it straight in my review. And then they're like, they smell it. This is the best thing I've ever smelled in the world. It smells like nothing else out there. And so I don't know for sure, but I have a hunch there's some shady stuff going on as far as filtering reviews. I have a hunch that these reviews aren't even all legitimate, the number of reviews. And there is certainly an incentive for these people who are doing the reviews to get their channels promoted. And then her friends are obviously Oda Erica and the other Curly Sense or whatever her name is, and Demi Rawling are certainly not unbiased. Demi's video was probably the funniest of them all. She had said, obviously they're best friends, that this is unbiased, this fragrance is amazing, it smells like nothing else out there. Okay, it's truly unique. About 5 seconds later, she says it smells like Spice Bomb and Tom Ford, Noir, and I think she said Stronger With You by Armani. So make that make sense. Anyway, let's get into the actual fragrance. I'm not here to hate on the fragrance. I just think there's some shady stuff going on with the fragrance. As far as the notes go, top is rum, mandarin neroli, jasmine, rose, black pepper, nutmeg is the mid. Base is vanilla, amber, cedarwood, sandalwood, and musk. And so what do you get? I wore this yesterday. I was going to do a first impressions. I did. I didn't really care for the video quality-wise. And so I figured I would just give it a full wearing and just give you an actual review. This is just a decant. I'm not going to have the atomizer, the bottle. Out the gate, you get this nice burst of the alcohol's in there. That rum is in there. Doesn't smell like you spilt drink on yourself. I heard some people say that. I don't get that. And then they said it smelled great, which didn't make any sense to me. It's a smooth rum. Definitely alcohol. Not from perfumer's alcohol, but from the actual note of rum. It's not an overload though, but it is there. It's definitely prominent. This is certainly leans more masculine. There is a rose. It's very light. It's not a key component of the scent profile. Doesn't smell like grandma, old lady, rose, kind of anything like that. The rum is very noticeable again in the opening, especially. Now, other than that, what you get is very resemblant of Spice Bomb by Victor Rolf. Not surprising. Curly Fragrances on all our videos talks about how Spice Bomb Extreme is the ultimate panty dropper and it's going to get you all the ladies and all that bullshit. Spice Bomb Extreme is a good fragrance, as is this. It smells very similar to Spice Bomb Extreme. And so when I've seen people doing reviews saying, oh, it's extremely unique, smells like nothing else out there, or it smells so niche, definitely not designer. Well, that's only true if you've never smelled Spice Bomb Extreme in your life and you thought the Spice Bomb smells like, a niche fragrance. What this smells like to me is that Victor and Rolf came out with a flanker of Spice Bomb and added rum, florals, and then changed up the spice profile slightly. And so it doesn't even, to me, it does not even stray far enough away to smell like a different fragrance necessarily altogether, but as if like a flanker was released from Victor and Rolf. Does it smell good? Absolutely. Would I buy this if it were a Spice Bomb flanker? Absolutely. Would I buy this for $250? No way in hell. I think Spice Bomb Extreme is overpriced at the whatever 130, whatever price point it is. I know you can get on discounters sometimes for like 90. 90 is a good buy for it. I would never pay more than that for Spice Bomb Extreme personally. I think this fits that ballpark. I think this were around the $100 price point, this would be good. I think a lot of people would like it for that price point. Again, I'm not surprised it went this route. People talked about it. Changes drastically throughout. It doesn't. The rum tones down a bit, quite significantly as it dries down. The spices tone down. A lot of that sweetness is toned down. It becomes more just not as pronounced as it goes throughout the dry down. Again, the mandarin and neroli, that to whatever extent they're there, are very in the background and they do not hang around long. The rose, again, and the jasmine play a very small role in the note profile. The rum is the most prominent along with the spices and the vanilla. And so, again, it's like a flanker to Victor and Rolf Spice Bomb. It smells a lot like Spice Bomb Extreme with rum, some floral components, toned down spice profile that's more simplified. And that's really what you get. Does it smell good? Absolutely, like I said. Longevity was pretty good. It got really close to the skin, though, after about 3 or 4 hours. I think about 3 hours was pretty close. But I could smell it on me pretty decently. I'd say about 6 hours later. It wasn't beast mode. This isn't, you got to scrub it off and smell it the next day, like, she states in her explanation pretty much. So, yeah, my thoughts overall. It's a good fragrance. It's overpriced. It's very similar to stuff out there, specifically Spice Bomb. I don't get the Stronger With You comparison. I think my biggest issue with this fragrance isn't the presentation. Because again, Jeremy did the same thing. Hell, my brand presentation, I know could be better. What bothers me the most is the price point for what you get. And I know she's letting their name carry herself, and she's got a lot of stands out there that'll certainly buy this, no doubt. And so I'm not knocking her for doing it. It's just not worth it to me, and it's not something I'd recommend to you all for the price point. Try to sample it. Again, if you're a huge fan of Spice Bomb, you might really like this. You might think it's worth buying. But what bothers me the most, again, is the stuff that I saw with dual fragrances. I'm seeing here again, very clearly the reviews are being filtered. And if potentially they're not even legitimate to begin with, but it certainly seems like they may be being filtered. Some of them seem over the top dramatic. Now, that could also be indicative of fake reviews. Of course, it could also be indicative of simps that are wanting to get noticed by Curly Fragrance. So I don't know. I don't know. Could even just be her website manager maybe doing it. Maybe she's not aware. I have no idea. I really don't. Nor do I care, quite frankly. I would just say sample before you try. Hopefully this was helpful. Again, it's not a bad fragrance. It's not unique either. And for the price point, I think there's a lot better out there for the price point. So hopefully this was helpful. All right, y'all.